match 34 of the never-ending World Cup.
Hey.
I mean, it feels like we're a lot more than 34 or 35 matches in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. I will say that means that there's only 10 left because we know there's 45 matches. So we are in the last third of the World Cup. I was waiting for you to break out in song there.
Yeah.
As an English supporter, I thought that you would have been very happy with that, though. And I can tell you why in a second.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. They've announced today that Ben Stokes is going to have surgery after the World Cup. May as well have it now.
I know. Yeah.
Just say he's injured. Get someone else in.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You may as well at least make sure he's semi kind of fit you give him an extra 2 weeks or a week and a bit or whatever it is. Recovery time. They reckon it's going to be 4 to 7 weeks, 4 to 6, 4 to 7 weeks for his recovery time. So I don't get it. I mean, it is. We're seeing now a lot of negative press coming out, and I'm thinking we're now starting to see some of the reasons why there has potentially been fractions. I think is that a right word? But why do you think we should be happy?
Well, so Afghanistan beating the Netherlands today now means that all England have to do to qualify for the Champions Trophy is beat the Netherlands when they play them. So it's a straight shootout now. So, look at the positives and the silver linings of the Cricket World Cup. You might not have won it or retained it, but at least you're going to qualify for the 2020.
I mean, we're talking like beating the Netherlands is a given. I mean, like one of the best sides in it got beat by the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And we have a history of getting beaten by the Netherlands. So I think I'd much rather fancy our chances against Pakistan or someone, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, it was an interesting game though. So I don't know if you watched much of it, but what a start from the Netherlands again. Looked really positive, right?
Yeah, they seemed to get off to a fine start and then seemingly took to the Lance Klusener school of running.
Yeah, that was quite funny. I did see a few run-outs. Yeah.
Then led, sorry for anyone watching on YouTube, you just see my groin. Because
people are now going to flock to YouTube just to look at that, Robert.
I doubt that. Yeah, and then, I was astounded for a bit. I was watching the scorecard and I thought, they've got off to a pretty reasonable start.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, they're 4 or 5 down. And I thought, let's see who's got the wickets. And I didn't even bother going through the scorecard because I thought, obviously, we've said quite a bit about this Afghanistan bowling attack and he's going to go.
Yeah.
And at the time I scrolled down, there was 7 down. And I was like, hang on a minute, there's only been 3 wickets.
This guy's having a stormer, this run-out fella. He's brilliant. He's taken 4 poles.
I was like, hang on a minute, there's only 3 wickets. Have I read the scorecard correctly? And I scrolled back up. And again, I just missed the main crux to the scorecard. I went, that's definitely 7 down. Scroll back to the bottom figures. And then there's only 3 wickets there. What? And then I had a look through. And yeah, it's true. I mean, I've not seen any of the run-outs, but what?
Oh, no, don't. Definitely don't at all. And in actual fact, if you're looking for a bit of a chuckle, definitely go and have a look at them.
Was it like watching that European Cricket League thing that is regularly on social media?
Better. Much better. Much better. So, nice glass of Chardonnay or Pinot or Cab Sab, whatever is your tickle, and then go and have a look because, my word, I was, I mean, poor old Colin Ackerman, when he got run out by Roelof van der Merwe, he didn't even look at it. He was just, he hit it straight to the man, ran. Oh, well, thanks, mate. Cheers. Appreciate
brilliant.
that.
Thanks for that. You can't love stuff like that.
It wasn't even a yes, no, sorry. It was just run.
Yeah, sorry. As you're running past someone.
Yeah. And then Afghanistan, very clinical. I mean, in the batting.
We've said this, though, haven't we? A couple of times we've said that they setting these targets of, lower end targets, they look as good as anybody chasing them. I mean, they've obviously done their run rate a little bit good today. I think they knocked them off in pretty reasonable
31.
time.
Yeah, 31
which
overs.
has obviously done their run rate pretty good and gives them a sort of chance, an outside chance, albeit at that 4th spot.
Yeah.
But all they can do is keep trying to win games, and you'd say that's about as clinical as Afghanistan is going to get against the Netherlands. So yeah, it's nothing like you said. We spoke about it last night, and for those that have listened to today's podcast, technically, the big things come tomorrow.
Yeah, Huge games tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I am going to support my beloved Sharks at Quins tonight, which I have not been to one of their games in feels like about 10 years.
Which tournament's that in? Is that in the European Cup?
URC. So yeah, that funny one. Honestly, we're playing. It's weird. The Sharks are playing Osprey at Harlequins. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to go to the game and enjoy it. It's about 50 of us game.
Yeah, if you ask one question, you probably end up asking 7,332 questions.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's how my weekend starts off. And then, as we've said, the first game tomorrow morning is New Zealand versus Pakistan. It's kicking off at 5 a.m. UK time. That's effectively a playoff game, in my opinion. That's almost a quarterfinal.
Yeah, well, there's still a few games to play. Like you say, Pakistan have got to play the minnows that are England. So New Zealand have got to be the other sides that they obviously to make sure. But you would say that whoever wins that puts them in the favourites for that fourth spot tag.
Yeah,
Afghanistan will be hoping for a tie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
and then Roots come out with the England-Australia game going, he'd much rather have anybody from England rather than the Aussies on social media. He did it in a press conference, but it came out as a quote.
I would agree with him if England were playing 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's just, I suppose, like you said, what else can you do but laugh, right? I mean, you just got to crack on and try and enjoy it.
I'm all for supporting your own team and stuff. I quite like the stuff that Ben Stokes has come out with in his interview today, like saying, we've just been, he just kept saying we've been shit. So he says everything we've tried's failed, everything we've done. And it's we've all been in teams, we've all played in teams where that's happened. It doesn't seem to matter what you do, everything keeps going wrong and everything seems to go against you. But that's sometimes can just be one of those times and has just happened to have happened at a World Cup. Obviously, there's been some other things. The David Willey interviews come out today.
Oh, I missed that, but I did see a video, which I was going to bring up, of all of the England players wishing him well in his retirement. So I haven't seen the interview. Tell us a little about the interview.
Well, he's basically come out as saying that the snubbing of a central contract midway through a World Cup where he was our only reasonably good new ball bowler has basically led him into retirement. He said that was like the final nail in the coffin. And if that's going off midway through a tournament, we questioned it at the time. We did. Jono mentioned it, didn't he, about the fact that he's coming out mid-tournament. But that must be a massive kick in the bollocks when you're thinking about at that stage of your career anyway. So I think there's a lot that may or may not come out. Like Michael Vaughan's been quite scathing of the ECB.
I've been honest. I love his tweets. He's been on form over the past week or two.
What's Wasim Jaffer ever done to him? He just seems to abuse Wasim Jaffer.
That was the best tweet. Obviously, I heard lovely road over ground, and Wasim Jaffer averaged 7. Perfect. But I think those two know each other personally, so I think he's obviously just.
I think there's been a bit of a history between them, whether that's all positive or negative, or whether it's just a bit
Who knows?
I don't know, but I just think. David Willey, we spoke about. He's always been a bit of a scapegoat for England, and now, it just seems to me that's answering some of the questions about what may or may not have gone wrong. I think it's a massive own goal from the ECB to announce that midway through a tournament. The fact that a lot of the questions are going to be, whether you take David Willey out of it, a lot of the questions are going to be, why hasn't Ben Stokes accepted a 3-year deal? And they've come out.
Remember, we've spoken about that. Yeah, we know that already, though, because the reason he hasn't accepted a 3-year deal is because the next cycle of negotiations happens next year.
Yeah. So
he's waited until he's taken a 1 year, see what the new cycle looks like, then sign a 3-year when it's a bigger pay packet for a top tier, blah, blah, blah.
Well, what's that going to do in the future then? What's that going to do to the rest of the people that have signed, to Harry Brook, for example, that have signed a 3-year deal?
Oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah, but I just think this is, again, the ECB scoring a huge own goal.
I think it's good business acumen from certain individuals. If Roots and Harry Brook and Mark Wood want to take 3-year contracts to secure, that's up to them. I'm sure that they were transparent and knew about the new cycle coming along. And, if those three didn't have the confidence to go, do you know what, I'm going to get a a top tier contract in the new cycle next year because I might get bumped down because there's going to be other people. Hey, you know,
I suppose.
What we got to remember is that as much as this is a sport, it's also business for these guys.
Yeah, and I think that's where it quite often. I think it's a bit like football, though. In it, that pains me to say a little bit. In that it's these brands, which the ECB is a brand now. At the end of the day, I mean, in football it tends to be individual clubs, but because of the size of cricket, it's the nations are going to score own goals because there's this massive. We've talked about before. Within cricket, there's a huge tipping point going off at the minute with this potentially worldwide contracts going out to certain individuals, and like you're sitting there going, right, are we better off just keeping this all under wraps for a minute? Are we like they've chucked it out in the public domain midway through a World Cup?
Yeah,
like they're the ones that
unsettle our players as much as possible.
Yeah, let's make the players say things that show us to be. Some people might say incompetent, some people might say insensitive, some people could say an awful lot of things. That they know journalists are going to ask Ben Stokes why he's only accepted a 1-year deal, especially when they came out and said we offered him a 3-year deal.
Well, Rob Key came out and said that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he was very transparent about it. Why even ask him? I don't quite get that.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like, right, if after the World Cup, there's, and especially with the way things are going, I don't know whether they maybe have tried to do it to try and take a bit of heat off the players or whatever, but it's absolutely massively backfired.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why Ben Stokes unretired from ODIs. You know, Jason Roy would have done a million times better, in my opinion. But look, we'll talk about this on a longer episode.
Yeah.
Let's just finish off with the weekend. The last game of the weekend is hopefully going to be the cracker, which is South Africa versus India on Sunday. You know, that some people might call that a prequel for the final. Might be, you know, who ends up with the bragging rights effectively. But yeah, that's also going to be a great game to watch.
Big game, that is. Big game. It'll be interesting to see I don't know where it's being played at, but the ball seems to have been swinging a lot more the ball seems to have been swinging a lot more in the more recent episode of the Tom Live we talked about yesterday. They've got a bit further south.
Shabby.
Yeah, I mean, that Quinton de Kock is obviously in unbelievable form and has been playing those types of innings where he gets himself in and then goes big.
Yeah.
That Indian new ball trio, you would have to say, because they tend to chop it and change quickly. They don't just go right, one guy or two guys bowl 7 overs. So that Indian new ball trio against Quinton de Kock, whoever opens the batting with him, because they seem to just score runs whoever they bung in at the minute, so that's fine. They could probably give Johnny Bairstow a go and he'd get runs in that South African side. But then obviously Van der Dussen's in unbelievable nick, Markram unbelievable nick, Klaassen in fine nick as well, and Miller found some form in the last game. So you'd have to say that for me is where that's going to be won and lost.
Yeah, it's going to be blow for blow, I think. You know.
Yeah.
What should be a damn squid now that we've upped it to such degree? It's going to be one of those where.
Part of me, I think if South Africa bat first, it will be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
But I think no matter what South Africa get, India will back themselves to get it. And the way that their guys play, they're not gung-ho dashers. They score quick enough, but they're proper shot makers who play proper shots. And so I think they'll back themselves to get whatever South Africa get. I think the other way round, we've seen with South Africa, well, I mean, they're averaging something like 340 setting, but 100 or 220 chasing. Yes, they've chased one score to knock them off, but whatever. So you'd sort of say that if it goes the other way around and India get a big score, it might be game over. But it might be South Africa's time to shine and show that they can chase these big scores. And
I think if South Africa win the toss, they're going to purposefully bowl first, just to go, we need some experience at chasing. It doesn't mean anything, right? South Africa are already through.
So, right, yeah, they're already through. But for me, this is about who you want to play in the semi-final. Do you want to play Australia that are buzzing into form?
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about that.
Or do you want to come first? Because there's no doubt whether the team that, I mean, maybe Pakistan, for example, if they go win and sail into fourth place, you might go, oh, right, okay. But Australia look like a machine of a team at the minute. And so you're thinking it.
Then Maxwell, concussion out. Mitch Marsh gone home, family reasons.
Yeah, but he said he's going to come back, hasn't he? He said he's coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still, Glenn Maxwell's out of tomorrow.
As is Marsh.
Yeah, as is Marsh. So, but I mean, it's not as if they've not got players that can come in and be plenty capable of filling those roles. So
yeah, we will see.
Yeah.
Cool, mate.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you have a lovely evening at the rugby.
I will do.
I'm going on a date. I'm going on a date with my wife.
I was about to say, please say your wife.
Yeah, the in-laws have kindly offered to look after our little boy, and we've decided to go out for some drinks and some dinner.
Fair. Cool, mate. We'll catch you at the end tomorrow.
Yeah, stay again, mate. Cheers.
Good day. Bye.